UFC 306 is happening this Saturday, September 14th, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time for the early prelims main event starting at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Pacific Time. It'll be available on ESPN Plus for just the prelims. You'll have to buy the PPV, the pay-per-view, to watch the main card on ESPN Plus as well. So I'm going to be going through the entire fight card, starting with the early prelims. We're going to end with the main event. The whole thing is that I am a casual to the sport. For the fighters that I'm not too aware of, I'm going to just be going based off of their last fight, and that's going to be the basis of my prediction. Obviously, fighters that I have more knowledge about, I'll be able to provide a better in-depth breakdown of why I think they'll win, why I think they'll have successes, what I think they'll use to win those fights. And then as we go on, so this is just going to be a casuals take, hence the name. So casual take on what I think these fighters are going to do, what I think they'll use to win, and how I think they'll win. So we'll start off the fight card with Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aor Rikilang. So I'm just going to call him Keelang because I don't know how to pronounce that first half. I think it's Aori Keelang, but that's a mouthful. So Keelang, he seems okay. Nothing great. Last fight, he was hit by some unorthodox strikes, as well as being held up in the clinch. I think Rosas is going to grab a hold of him, control him on the ground, unless he tries. Because I think that Rosas has the better stand up too. Keelang had some good moments where he could be explosive, but I think that Rosas is just a better striker, and then of course the better grappler. I think he's going to get him to the ground, and I think he was going to submit him. Okay. Moving up the card, we've got Edgar Chairez versus Joshua Van. Now, Edgar Chairez seems to have decent stand-up, good defensive jiu-jitsu, and his last fight ended very weird with his opponent getting into a triangle and then doing nothing to avoid it. Very strange. But they're UFC fighters, If they were smart, they wouldn't be. Joshua Van doing really good work in his last fight and ended up getting caught when his opponent came out really aggressively. He was doing well and just ended up getting caught. It's just name of the game sometimes, Puncher's chance for everybody. Kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to lean towards Chairez getting it done on the feet. I think he's going to have the better striking game. Moving up the card, we've got Jaregui versus Ketlin Souza. Now, both of these ladies, come forward strikers, real nice combos, real nice kicks. Souza showed some of her ground game in her last opponent, but she did get put into some dangerous position with the grappling. But she was able to get out and even got some of groundwork done against her opponent, who took her down. So very good stuff. Jaregui has really good takedown defense, so I'm expecting them to keep it standing and to be like a swing and bang fight. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it'll be an exciting scrap. I'm going to lean towards Jaregui winning it, and I think she's just going to win by decision. Moving on, we've got Manuel Torres versus Bahamondes. Now, Manuel Torres, he won his last fight pretty easy. He does seem hittable, but he does have good wrestling. Bahamondes is a real nice striker, but he does leave himself a bit open to getting hit. Now, I think Bahamondes has the better chin, and so I'm going to lean towards Bahamondes stopping Torres. Moving up, we've got Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Now, Irene Aldana, very tough striker, kind of fighter that builds off of her combos, and the longer you let her dictate the pace, the better she gets with landing her shots. Dumont, wrestling heavy fighter, good takedowns, especially when she's being pressured. I don't know how good Aldana's takedown defense is or her defensive wrestling, but it better be up to par. If Aldana can keep it standing, I think she'll take the fight. But if Dumont can get her down consistently, I think that'll be probably how the fight goes. I'm going to lean towards Aldana, just being able to keep it standing and making it a striking fight. And I think that she's going to take it by decision. Moving up, we've got Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. Now, Rodriguez is a come-forward fighter, iron chin, and some pretty good wrestling too. Bondar was Rodriguez's last opponent, and I wrote down the name because I feel so bad for that guy. I looked at his record. He was kind of on a skid, like a 2 or 3 loss skid, and he came out looking good. He was landing strikes. He was landing elbows. He was kicking, and it didn't even faze Rodriguez. It was just so sad to watch because you could just see this guy being like, wow, I'm hitting this dude with everything, and it doesn't matter. Tough. And he got rear naked choked eventually, so kind of sad, but that's what happens. And now Ode Osborne is a striker, doesn't have the best defensive wrestling, doesn't have the best takedown defense, and unless he's worked on that and significantly improved it, I think Rodriguez is going to get him down and then get a submission. I think that's how that fight's going to go. Oh. Up the card, we've got Zellhuber versus Ribovics. Now, Zellhuber, I'm actually really looking forward to this fight. So Zellhuber, tall, rangy fighter, good counters off the back foot and heavy punches. He doesn't seem to have like one-shot KO power, but his punches will damage you. Like his last opponent, he had like 2 cuts and his right eye was swollen shut almost. So Ribovic is a good come-forward style. He really builds off his momentum, and then he starts controlling the stand-up to the point to where you're not even able to like respond. You're getting rocked, you're hurt. He's just landing more and more and more. And either it goes on like that for about 2 rounds or the ref is going to step in. His last fight, he showed really good grappling defense and was able to get out of some pretty dangerous positions. But I think that Zellhuber, he has a really good game off the back foot with his counters, and I think he's going to be able to land enough to stop Ribovic from getting into like his rhythm, getting to his groove. I'm going to lean towards Zellhuber by decision, and I won't be surprised if he ends up stopping. I just think he'll have the better counters. Up the card, we've got Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Now, Brian Ortega, heavy grappler. He's a good striker. He's very durable, but he gets hurt. And his saving grace is his jiu-jitsu. His ground game is good enough to where you can't just follow him to the ground after you have him hurt. So Lopez is a very skilled jiu-jitsu guy, and he's got nasty hands, like absolute bombs for hands. So I think if he's able to hurt Ortega, Diego Lopez has the skill with jiu-jitsu enough to follow him to the ground, not let himself get caught up in like half guard or full guard or anything like that, and be able to finish Ortega off. So I'm gonna go towards Diego Lopez with a finish, either the first round or the second round. I'm leaning towards the first though. Up the card, we've got Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Now, both women, incredibly well-rounded, good wrestling defense, good jiu-jitsu. Shevchenko seems to be a little bit better on the stand-up, but Grasso was still able to land her shots against her. I think they both have decent power. Shevchenko just seems to be the stronger of the two fighters, but Grasso's technique counterbalances that. I think she's got enough knowledge on the ground defensively to keep from Shevchenko doing whatever she wants to her. You know, even in she almost got guillotined and was able to, guillotined and was able to stop it. And it was a very dangerous position, you know, with Shevchenko on top, full mount, arm under the chin, it looked like, and then pulling that head back into the choke. So very impressive. I think it's a 50-50 fight personally, but I'm going to lean towards Grasso to take it. But I wouldn't be surprised out of either outcome. I think it'll go to a decision, but we'll see. And then the main event, Sean O'Malley versus O'Malley Dvalishvili. So Sean O'Malley, very technical, clean striker, power in the hands. His counterpunching, excellent. He's got good defensive wrestling. Merab is a wrestling-heavy fighter, and his style is sort of constant pressure and takedowns until that's pretty much all you're doing that entire fight. O'Malley, I think, has the footwork and the reflexes to counter Merab if he isn't careful. But if Merab can start getting his takedowns going and like getting them consistently, I think he's going to keep O'Malley on the back foot for 5 rounds, if not just holding him down on the ground. And I'm going to lean towards Merab by decision. I think he has the cardio, and I think he has the skill to keep taking down O'Malley if O'Malley can get back up. But who knows? O'Malley could KO him, shoot, in the first round too. You know, you just never know. O'Malley probably is one of the best fighters to have like a puncher's chance. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give me your predictions as well, and I'll see you guys on Fight Night.